Yo, guys, what's going on? Lovely to see you all.
Hello.
Ash and Scott, hi, how's it going?
Hello.
Lucas, bye.
What's going on? What's going on? So, guys, lovely to see you. Tonight we're doing basically our album in full listening party. We're talking through basically insights into lyrics, into the recording process, the writing process of every song individually, one by one. We'll be answering your questions and stuff like that as well. So it's basically we just wanted to kind of have a nice evening of just enjoying the album that we worked so hard on. So how are you all doing? Where are you all from? Let us know what's going on. How are you guys feeling? Scott and Ash, bye. All good in the hood?
Hi, feeling good. Good.
Good day, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been a fantastic day. I'm glad that everyone can finally hear, what we've been listening to for the past 12 months.
Scott made a really good point. Like earlier, a couple of weeks ago, and was like, God, it feels like the album that's never gonna come out.
It's weird
so
because
nice.
I did an interview and the guy was like, what do you think of the album now? And I was like, honestly, the motions you normally go through where you record it and then you need to go through mixes and masters and you get sick of it and then you can't be bothered with it and then you need to tour it and blah, blah, blah. Like, because it took so long, we did have quite a weird relationship where we probably all had a couple of months off from listening for it. Like, for me personally, I remember I listened to it for a couple of months and then I just stepped back and left it alone. And then I came back to it as like a fan, I guess, So now my relationship with the record is extra special, I think, which is very cool. I know as well, all three of us went and did the same thing today. And we went into HMV. We all picked up our copies of The Greatest Mistake.
Oh, my somewhere.
So it's been a really special day. And as for like feedback, like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything, everybody's been so cool. So
some really nice reviews as well. Some high numbers, which has been really nice to see.
Yeah, man.
Only 4Ks, but we'll move on. Move on from that.
There's like
if you guys
little box down here, Scott, you were about to say when you about a couple
if you've got any questions. If anyone has any questions, then feel free to ask, because we'll be answering stuff all night. So if you want to know anything about the songs or whatever you want, then they'll appear down here, some down here.
Yeah. And also as well,
thank you very much, Talia.
With this record, we put a lot of effort into everything. So if there's anything on this album, whether it's the box set or the fact that the vinyl comes in a slipcase or the photography or the visualizers or whatever, we've probably got an answer for any question you may have tonight. So yeah, ask away, my dudes. Ash is looking iconic and Scott's looking wholesome.
Yeah, mate.
What about me? I got a flower.
You're so on brand, mate. You're so on brand. People are so used to it now that they're like,
it's boring.
Even though you look iconic, but yeah, everyone already knows this, Lucas.
Maybe I should have grown a mustache. Maybe that's that's the problem. Cool. Well, we should have some comments come up, some questions come up in the next couple of minutes, but I feel like maybe the location spam is kind of a bit backlogged. So maybe we should start by like talking about ourselves and like our personal relationship with the albums. Like, do you guys have like a favorite song or like, a favorite moment that, anything that stands out?
Swansea.
You guys? Swansea gang, let's go.
Scott, do you want to go first?
You're talking to me. I thought you were asking the people.
I know.
Honestly, I know, like, you guys all know this, but like every song is a banger. And like my favorite song kind of changes from listen to listen. But I've been loving No More Roses recently. I know I posted about that up on Twitter, and I'd say probably that's still my favorite at the moment. No More Roses.
Yeah, mate. Mine's been quite like a standard ever since like demo stages, even when we were recording. So like my favorites have always been like Phantoms, and then as soon as we were tracking like Kate's vocals for Die Alone, that was like immediately like one of the biggest connections for me on the whole record. So yeah, I love that one. Still love playing that one as well. So
it's cool as well, because I don't think there's like been a clear favorite on everybody else's end as well, which is really nice. It's like I feel like everybody's kind of had there's lots of different favorite songs, which is really cool. Neil Evans has asked, what was the inspiration behind the whole floral aesthetic? So I guess we kind of all come from different angles with this, really, because, like, I just think it's something that's always been quite naturally relevant to our band. We always go for quite cinematic, beautiful things, and even when you think about our artwork, technically the debut had a flower on it, so yeah, I think it's something that's always kind of been a part of it. But I don't know if you guys want to shed any light on the visual side of this record, or if anything stood out to you guys.
I feel like it's not, obviously it's not the main thing to do with color, but obviously flowers are quite a colorful thing as well, so they're quite a nice thing to like include in photos now and videos and things, because it's
quite an easy way of showing the change, I guess, from going to black and white to color.
And then also you've got the the sort of metaphor of like flowers blooming or flowers dying. It's you can really use flowers in a lot of different meaningful ways.
And true, yeah, when I look back as well, debut album, maybe flowers are more relevant to you because you've got Marigold, you've got Wilt, so quite a lot of these songs are like synonymous with flowers. But I think it's maybe the flowers are quite naturally beautiful, you know what I mean? And there's something extra special about that, which is cool. So if you could cover, ooh boy, Craig William pulling through with a toughie. I'll let you guys go first, because I definitely don't have just one answer on my end.
Gone Greedo, you go first this time.
If it had to be like a direct, like true to the original cover, and it was like, you had to abide by like the laws of the original song, maybe I feel like I always think of Sleep when I think like by My Chemical Romance, when I think of like a cover that we would do like really, really well. Obviously we did like that My Chem cover set like last year, and we did like Ghost of You, which was a banger. I'm Not Okay, all those songs. But if we could do a song and like make it our own, like I think like Sex Tape by Deftones is like, it's always been one of my favorites, and like the vibe like really sits, and feel like we could probably like just add it, little more bits, that would elevate it.
For me, I know I've said this before, and I'm certain that we will 100% do this, but it'll be Just Like Heaven by The Cure. Love that song, and I feel like we could easily do like a really cool ambient Holding Absence version of that. And Lucas would obviously smash the vocal side of things. So
there you go. To be honest, you guys have named 3 bands that I do believe we'd smash in terms of covers. Because I feel like with Deftones, it'd be nice to do a not heavy sounding Deftones song, you know what I mean? And then with My Chem, I guess it'd be nice to do like a more shoegazy kind of version. And then The Cure, it'd be good to make like a more kind of modern version as well. And
yeah, definitely.
Not like spoiler alert, is nothing concrete at all. But we have, between ourselves spoken lots about someday maybe doing a covers EP or recording covers, just because I think it's a really cool way to show the world what your band's vision is through the guise of somebody else's song, and it's funny as well because I know we all grew up playing covers in bands, you know what I mean? So it's like, and for probably at least eight years of my life, I would have like retched at the thought of doing a cover, because I think you train yourself to think covers are stupid when you get to a certain point as a musician. But yeah, so hopefully someday it'd be something we could do. So anyway, my homies, now we're all quizzed out. I think we should start listening to some bangers. So first and foremost, the album opens with, we're going to do a double whammy. We're going to do Awake into Celebration song. So just a quick preface here, I remember Celebration song was one of the first songs that we kind of sat down and penned. And it was like a very old demo that we had from album 1, and we kind of just forced it into this, just the shape that it's in now. But I feel like the lyrics were quite important to make that song the way it was. Once we had the I'm Alive, it kind of went from there, really. So yeah, we'll talk your ears off about this song once we finish listening to it. But this is Awake into Celebration song.
so long.
Oh boy, what a spicy meatball!
What a
What a
banger.
ripper!
What a ripper indeed. Dude, thank you so much. Yeah,
Yeah,
with this
thank you,
song,
man.
we knew that we definitely wanted to just, I think, just hit people straight off the blocks. You know what I mean, and let
Yeah.
people know that this was going to be an epic, emotional record. And I think Celebration Song does that in the most special way, because like it's not at all cheap. Like it's very like, it's quite a proud emotional song. You know, it's proud. It's a happy song at the end of the day. It's a hopeful song. You know, and I'll kind of maybe start off by talking about the lyrics, but you know, this song coupled with Morning Song, you know, the lyrical concept is essentially about how, you know, life is to be celebrated, and it's so much more special if you're somebody who in your life you haven't maybe valued your life, you know, and you've maybe wanted to just be somewhere else and to disappear, and then one day you wake up and you realize you were so glad that you didn't disappear because life is brilliant, you know. And back to Awake, I guess at the beginning, I really viewed that as somebody waking up from a long coma, you know, metaphorically or physically, you know, and it really just building and then just kind of opening the curtains and experiencing the world, you know, for the first time. So Scott, do you want to talk about how we kind of started writing that song?
I just got like something that just came back to me while we were listening was so Awake was something that we actually wrote in the studio.
Kind of the last thing we
Celebration
did, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It had a completely different intro, and it was still kind of a long piano-led ambience kind of intro. You know, we always knew we wanted to. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, thank you very much. That was kind of what we were going for. Was we really wanted to just like set the tone for the entire hour of music that you're going to listen to. But yeah, it had a different intro, and you were going to sing over it originally, Luke. I don't know if you remember. And sort of the vague idea was that you were going to end this sort of intro of singing by going, "The greatest mistake of my life," and like that was where that melody came from.
Yes, it was going to go, "My life."
Yeah.
Oh my God! Wow, I completely honestly forgot that. Wow.
Yeah, that's where the "I'm Alive," evolved.
God, no way!
Yeah.
God, dude, wow!
I know, isn't it?
So everybody watching now is watching me have a real-time epiphany.
Yeah.
God, I completely forgot that. Wow! And also, just you saying that now has made me realize and remember that the original version, which I completely forgot existed, the ambient sound that we had going through it was what you recorded in your coffee shop, I think, on a day shift. Am I right in thinking? Yeah. So
also another one in the intro layers. So like in the layers of Awake. Sorry, New Year's Eve, 2019, 2020. Yeah. We all went to our local bar called Fuel, big up Fuel in Cardiff, and. Yeah, when the fireworks were going off outside, I went outside and we were all together and I recorded the fireworks going off. So there, if you listen really closely in there, you can hear us all celebrating the new year coming in and with the fireworks going off and everything. Yeah.
I think another interesting thing that maybe we should brush upon just quickly about Awake is the instrument, the kind of like wheezy piano. I can't remember what it's called. What's it called?
Oh, what's it called? No, not harpsichord.
It's not a Hammond.
Hammond organ.
You sure?
No,
it's
not Hammond organ.
No, it's not. I can't remember what it is. Maybe if Ryan or anybody with a big brain could try and suss out what that instrument is, but it's like a gorgeous piano that is only activated when you push the pedal down and it pushes air through the notes that you're playing. So that kind of weird wheezing sounding accordion kind of thing at the beginning matched with the pianos is kind of, yeah. And back to that comment that somebody just made then, this song live is going to be a joke. And I think, we've practiced it a few times. And
reed organ.
Is it? Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, there she is. Beth Miller on the album as well, doing guest vocals.
Yeah, we had everyone whisper, "I'm
alive." but Greeno, we've practiced this song, and how does it feel to play?
It's ripping, isn't it? I know. There's in the intro in the first 20 seconds. There's that really janky fill. The black and button, bam, bam.
Yeah, dude,
bam.
that was really early idea. That was,
yeah, but it was so. When you guys wrote that and sent the demo, it was so prominent to me, and I was like, God, it wouldn't be that song without those parts, in the verse, the verse patterns as well. Even the one of my favorite parts is the middle bridge section leading up to the I've been so when everything drops away. That sort of we were talking with Dan about that whole part being there's vocodery parts and lots of the swelling guitars, but then the piano, and then when the chorus comes back in and there's no vocal, there's a really high part of an ad-libbed Kate vocal that's happening as well. That sits right on top, and it's elements from all the different songs kind of just kind of making a little nod to the rest of the album.
For sure, because that moment as well, and like you said about Kate's vocals, we'll get onto that in Die Alone, but she kind of is glittered throughout the record as more of an ambient layer, and that's something we tried to do a lot with this album, was use the human voice as a layer, so you can hear a lot, and Beyond Belief is a really good example, but that specific song, when it technically it's the second verse, but when it reaches that climax before the I've Been So Hurt For So Long, it's I think it's 5 different vocal tracks, so you've got the vocoder, you've got a low harmony, a high harmony, an ambient, and then my sister somewhere in the mix. And I love the idea of it kind of feeling overwhelming, because it's the song is about realizing happiness. It's that overwhelming, whoa, man, I've been so hurt for so long, but I overcame it and I'm alive. And that moment is just so special. So I'm not sure if we've got any other questions or anything, but I feel the way we're going, we're going to be here until album 3 talking about this record. So
talking about it for hours, and it's it's been so long, hasn't it? And we've been able to sit with it for forever, really. So
yeah, I could write a book about this record. Okay, right. So what artists and ambulances albums influenced this record? Where do we begin?
Honestly, I think all 3 of us, we all have such a varied music taste. But I think for me personally, one of the biggest, I know it's going to sound kind of stupid, but one of the biggest influences for this song especially was Holding Absence. Because obviously I kind of joined the band late to the party, and this was always going to be the intro to the album, and kind of I was very conscious when we were writing was, let's try and write a Holding Absence song, and I think this kind of does sound like it could fit on album 1, but it's also elevated in the sense of we wanted to kind of make everything better than album 1, obviously, but this song I remember was written with the kind of idea of let's write a Holding Absence song. What would Holding Absence do for
and I think that's something we'll brush upon later, but the fact that this was kind of your first album as a songwriter coming into the fold, and something that I had to do years prior was join Holding Absence as a fan of the band and make sure that I did right by the band, so there's kind of that weird you put that expectation on yourself because you love the band, I guess, you know what I mean? So I
was a fan of the band, I mean, you always say the story of I was the first person to order the vinyl.
But yeah, man, so right, we're gonna move on to Curse Me With Your Kiss now. This song is a bop. It's a little jivey boy, so if you've got space in the back, have a little dance, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I get to the pearly gates, I know there'll be no shame in reaching out to you and hoping that you call my name. One day I'm gonna let you know I did my best to hide your ghost. In the floorboards down below, I'm blackened by your shadow. Even back when it all began, I knew there was more to this. I felt fire inside before, but no one else could tame it. I doubt I'll ever find the peace inside. But what about the pieces that I've left behind? I dream of you in colors that don't exist. Looking back on my life, all I know is this: I let you curse me with your kiss. When I get to the pearly gates, let it feel like yesterday. I'm reaching out to you, I hope you do the same. I remember the crack in your voice when you said I'm leaving. Just another lover that left me with nothing to believe in. I doubt I'll ever find the peace inside. But what about the pieces that I've left? I dream of you in colors that don't exist. Looking back on my life, all I know is this: I let you curse me with your kiss. Well, I lost myself inside your echo. Now I live my life with nothing left to let go. And now there's nowhere left for me to turn back. I know that. I know. Well, I lost myself inside your echo. Now I live my life with nothing left to let go. And there's nowhere left for me to turn back. I know that.
Oh, how I miss you so. What a bop. What a banger.
Sorry, boys.
Ashley Green, broski. Let's
So-
I reckon this song I feel like was the quickest to write. And I feel like quite often you're in a weird position where me and Scott might have had this song that's been doing our heads in for months, and then we finally bring it to you, and it's like it's kind of fresh. But I feel like this is quite an interesting one for you because, like, you know, we all had like 2 weeks with it, and then it was recorded, and that was it. You know what I mean? So, like, talk me through this song and where you were with it and the emotions and stuff.
Mate, you caught me like straight vibing, which was like
sorry, bro.
in the
Dan, boy.
in the studio.
Hey,
Oh,
Danny
Dan
boy!
Weller! Here he is.
And the myth.
Here he is. Man, like you two probably remember when we were recording, we had like a sit through of like the album we were listening, making notes, and like I was like so nervous about one of my notes because I was like, I didn't like the chorus.
Oh my god!
now-
yeah.
And like, but now we've played it, you know, we've like had a couple goes with it, like in practice. It's like, oh, it's a banger and it slaps. Like it is really good. Yeah, to touch on like writing it, I remember. So we started writing it, you know, before we went to Middle Farm. We were writing it in the office and that, and I can't remember what you did, Scott. I can't remember what you and Dan had done to make like the intro with the boom ba ba da boom ba 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 na ma ma, that like intro kind of line.
Oh, well,
Dan was sort of like, let's like he did something. He was like, let's just like pick some notes and we'll just do this.
Do you know? I remember this
Yeah.
because we had the riff. Because originally, and for the record, we wrote this song with Dan, who produced the record, who we loved wholeheartedly, and he was in the chat a minute ago. So if he's here, hello Dan, how's it going?
Love you, Dan.
But
There he is.
Yeah.
The
boy. But you know, we'd kind of somehow, I think it was stitched together, the intro, and if you listen to it, it does sound kind of unnatural, and that is because it was chopped into place basically. But I remember there was a moment where we were like, is this right vibe, you know? Because writing a song as close to recording as we did with this one, you know, literally the week before, it's all about the vibe. If you aren't in with the vibe, you might trick yourself into recording a song that doesn't fit, you know. So, but like you said, Ash, that kind of like weird lead line that it drops into, that was basically our way of, you know, sampling a bit of Beyond Belief really and putting it in the song and kind of contextualizing the song, I guess. But yeah, I love this song. I think the reason I love this song is because it touches upon so many things that we do, so many things that we've never really done before, you know. So I hear a lot of Taking Back Sunday. I hear a lot of Paramore, you know, Paramore, bands that we love. But Dan Weller is literally such a legend.
He is literally a legend, yeah.
We'll gush over Dan for the next 2 hours, but
tech metal master.
Yeah, but he honestly just made this just such an experience, and without him, this album would not be as special as it is. You know, he put so much into it. And like I said, we wrote this song with him as well. So, any initial thoughts, though, Scott, on this song? Any specific memories you have of what we were trying to, you know?
I just remember, yeah, like you said, obviously, you know, before we went at the studio, if anyone who's not in a band, like you usually spend the week before kind of getting all the songs ready and listening through everything and making sure it's all, you know, all makes sense really, and there's nothing like wrong, so you're not wasting money and time while you're in the studio fixing mistakes. And it was like we needed one more song, so we were like, oh, let's just wait until we see Dan and we'll write one. And it just came
somehow this baby popped out.
Yeah, it literally came together so easily and so quickly. And yeah, I remember coming up with the like the middle eight, the you know, the picked guitar bit, yeah, and like it was just like
that specifically as well. That's a really good thing to brush upon. Is like it's odd because Wilt was obviously the closer of the last song, so nobody'd really compare this song to Wilt, but I get real Wilt vibes from that because when we were writing Wilt, you know, we had the song and then we were kind of like, what do we do for the outro? And then we were just like, let's just do the biggest thing we possibly can, because why wouldn't we? And I feel like that, you know, once you'd come up with that guitar, and I loved that guitar straight away because it reminded me a lot of like the Hotelier, you know, it kind of had this really subtle, humble kind of, emotional feel to it, you know, and somehow it just grew into this freaky thing. And as for the lyrics of this song, you know, I'm really happy with the lyrics of this song because like it, like we've said a lot, you know, we had like a week, 2 weeks to really nail this. And I kind of scooped quite a lot of little one-liners from other little things that I'd had lying around and somehow managed to kind of put this together. But like somebody said about the closing lyric, like light of my life, how I miss you so. I always remember thinking like, God, how sad does that sound? That sounds like really, you know, as a lyric, it's like a really emotional sounding sentence. So anyway, I guess back to the recording process of this, you know, and obviously working with Dan and like you said, Ash, about going to Middle Farm. Recently, we put out a documentary about that. So if anybody hasn't seen that, we urge you to watch it. And here's a little trailer, just so you know what you're in for.
I feel like this album is, it just feels special to all of us, and I feel like it really kind of bookends the old era of Holding Absence and kind of is the start of Holding Absence. It's almost like a rebirth. It's almost like the band starting again in my eyes.
There's a deeper rooted connection from us in those songs that is just, it's like the sincerest form of love into those songs that we then go, here's us, you know, here's the four of us as a band, here are our songs.
And I feel like that, you know, man, that's like the best thing about being in a band is like, it isn't just me, you know, it's like me and like 3 other incredibly talented, complex people who've lived lives, and like just how we all just put this stuff together and just create things that are so much better than we are.
God.
Oh boy. So yeah, if you guys at home are not sick voices by the end of this, then that's definitely a good watch. Yeah, it was you know, it was something that we always kind of wanted to do really, and Ash took point on that working with Mosh. And it's something we'll definitely do again because it was a really enriching experience for, I think, just the album as a whole once we'd left, I guess. So yeah. Before we go on, do we have any questions? Maybe if there's anything you guys are wondering. For the record as well, we only see the comments that are getting put here. So if we miss your question, don't take it personally because we haven't actually seen it. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that we weren't like picking favorites or anything, you know. But what is your favorite lyric from the album? Ooh, I'll let you guys answer this first because this is.
Oh God, here we go. And I gotta remember what the lyrics are now.
Yeah, Afterlife. Yeah.
Yeah. I know I'm out of sight, but am I out of mind? That's the question.
Deep, bro.
Oh
I could
God,
go first
I don't know.
if you want me to.
Yeah, you go first. Yeah.
Actually, I don't really know the answer myself, to be honest. I feel like Morning Song was a really, really special song lyrically for me. And I want to say on the record as well, something that I do with all of my lyrics are I take my personal experiences and I put them into a story. That doesn't necessarily mean that these lyrics or these songs are specifically autobiographical. It's more me taking things I felt and empathizing with a narrative, I guess. A Morning Song, I knew that I wanted to write a song to couple with Celebration Song, and basically kind of look at mourning the death of somebody, but you know, like living on their behalf because they didn't have the chance to. And that is such a sensitive topic, you know. So I feel like for me, I'm very proud of my lyrics on that song because I feel like I did such a hard topic justice, despite, you know, touch wood, not having like a specific person I think of when I hear that song, you know. And I know a lot of people will listen to that song and it'll remind them of somebody they love. But for me, it was kind of an ode to everybody I'd lost and my experience with grief as a whole. So, you know, when I think about that song, you know, like one of the lyrics, like my entire life is shrouded now that death's black wing eclipsed your sunshine. You know, some of those lyrics are like so over the top, but I feel like when you're grieving, you do just, everything is over the top, you know what I mean? Like, so, you know, but anyway, yeah. So for me, that was something I was very proud of. But who cares about me? What about the boys?
We care about you, mate. I don't, Scott, do you have one?
Yeah, I'd probably go again. No More Roses. I think probably it's why it's one of my favorite songs, because I know, I guess painting all of the songs with a brush of relationship, thing isn't very accurate. But like, I'm lucky enough to not have had many relationship issues in my life, and can't really relate to the sort of negative.
He's too handsome for a relationship issue.
But I think No More Roses is obviously about a struggle with religion, obviously, and which is something I have quite strong views on, which I will abstain from talking about here. But the line at the end, which is obviously I've forgotten now.
How many?
How many tears and sonatas must I sing for you to see? I never believed in you because you never believed in me, and I think that's something that kind of rings very true to my life.
I think that's a cool lyric as well, because when you think of belief and believing in a god, and then you think of believing in somebody, those are hugely different things. You know what I mean? Like, but I really like, I was really proud of that lyric, because I feel like it humanized God, which is such a stupid thing. But,
true.
Ash, dude, have you got any favorites?
I think some of my favorite lyrics, like as a whole, are on Beyond Belief, and I don't know if that's because like the overall performance of the lyrics is like, that was one of the first songs that we like had written that was like, wow, this was like shoo-in in all of our minds for like single one. But yeah, like lyrics like your love's a warm gun and a trip to the sun, at the bottom of the sea you're beyond belief, like is like, like lyrics like that are so, I don't know, like the big I can't really think of the way to like describe them, but almost like Rob Smith-esque kind of like super wacky lyrics are like some of my favorite, and in that song they're like peppered in all the time. So like,
I think like flamboyancy and just like over the, I really wanted that song to be quite over the top. And in that song, one of my favorite lyrics is the, you held me up to the light and you forced me to dance. Like that's a weird lyric I never would have written, but I feel like for me, it took this metaphor of somebody falling so hard for somebody, they make you look stupid. You know what I mean? They lift you up in front of the world and they make you look like a tit, for want of a better word, and yeah, man. So like you said, it's cool, because I'm glad that came across, because I definitely tried to kind of be a bit more loosey-goosey rather than like some of my lyrics are very
loosey-goosey, baby.
And loosey-goosey. Right, Home Slices. Let's see if do you remember what song's next? Anybody?
Am I out of sight? Am I out of my? Oh yeah, that's the one, isn't it? Yeah, that's the one.
Do you want to introduce this, Scott? Go on, bro.
This is my favorite song on the record, and it's called Afterlife.
I know I'm out of sight, but am I out of mind? And when I close my eyes, I dream I'll see you in the afterlife. I'll pull those arrows from out of your back, one at a time. I know this bridge we built won't last, but it'll hold for at least a while. Even when the light leaves your bones, your soul will follow me wherever I go. It's in the way I feel your fire, even when I sleep at night. I stay inside the cloud. I know I'm out of sight, but am I out of mind? And when I close my eyes, I dream I'll see you in the afterlife. I know I'm out of sight, but am I out of mind? And when I close my eyes, I dream I'll see you in the afterlife. I'll pull those arrows from out of your back, time and time again. We know that nothing good can last, but what'll happen when we reach the end? I'll never let you run out of time. You'll live forever in the back of my mind. I see, a dream I see. A dream I see, I lost the veil. A dream I see, lost the veil. A dream I see, lost the veil. A dream I see, lost the veil. A dream I see. I'm out of sight, but am I out of mind? And when I close my eyes, a dream I see you in the afterlife.
Big riff, mate. Big riff.
I know, it's good enough.
That's it, my mate. So yeah, let's quickly talk about Afterlife. So Afterlife is quite interesting actually, because when we look at the song structure, the album structure, sorry, you know, like we mentioned, we worked with Dan on Curse Me With Your Kiss. We worked with him on 3 songs on this record, and they are all in a row. So it goes Curse Me With Your Kiss, Afterlife, and Drugs and Love. We worked with Dan on. So this is another one of those. And yeah, and basically this song is one of the oldest songs on the record. We went up to London with Dan and wrote Gravity, Drugs and Love, and Afterlife in the same week. So it's so interesting to me to think that Gravity feels kind of old now, but it has technically existed as long as Afterlife, which is very interesting. With this song, you know, when we started writing it, it was very much a case of that drum beat, you know, it was like, that was the idea, you know, and I remember Scott kind of said that maybe we should try and go for like a bit more of like a
Foot of the floor, like
stomp,
Paris
yeah,
kind of thing,
straight up.
you know? Yeah.
And the thing is something that, you know, we love about this band is Ash's drumming style is so passionate and so powerful, you know, you can really like feel those drums. Yeah, we need a comment. We need a statement from the man himself. But you know,
my favorite comment on that YouTube video was Ash is hitting those drums like they owe him money or something.
Yeah.
So good. But you know, I feel like this was a really good canvas because the melody was cool, you know, of the chorus, and it was a catchy boy, but underneath, I feel like, you know, that pump was all the Green Machine, you know, and smashing it. So yeah, and an interesting thing about this song was the chorus was quite quick to write, and the rest of the song took absolutely ages to write. So
This is probably the hardest song to get right, I think. And there's so many versions of this song kind of came through because towing that line of like a radio hit versus, you know, an emotional holding absence song is really hard.
Yeah, you're
and
right.
you kind of want to have both sides in equal balance. And I think when we first, you know, like no tea, no shade, I straight up didn't like this song when we wrote it. And it took so long to get to a place where I was like, yeah, you know, that's a song that, you know, would be cool on the album. And again, it was like the week before we kind of stripped it up for parts, and we were like, let's, you know, kind of take this apart and start it again almost. And yeah, and it kind of ended up exactly how it is in the album now. And I love it now. You know, I wouldn't change a single second of it.
I think every song has its place as well, which is a very important thing to say about Afterlife is like, it might be a bit cheesier, it might be a bit poppier, but it's like, it's the cheesy one, you know what I mean? Like, and if you want a 7-minute long cry fest, then we sort it out later on in the record. So, right, Ash, in a nutshell, asked, what was your favorite drum fill? Also, your hi-hat kick is infectious, and I do it every time I play after. I kick things all the time, and inspired me to just kick random things in life now, bro. So.
The dock on, booting stuff. I don't know, mate.
I know my favorite fill of yours on the record, by the way, but you go.
Probably. There's a few. There's the one that I've like dubbed the like the Sleeping with Sirens fill, which is the snare, tom, kick, snare. Or maybe one in Drugs and Love.
I really like the I love people listening to this who don't like drums are going to be like, but you know the you know the kind of my favorite one on the whole is the No More Roses.
Oh yeah,
because I love it late. Like it's like you assume there's not going to be a fill there because it's like, and then the fill comes in and it's like it catches itself up. I think I love that.
I'm a big fan of the old
Dude,
the old Connor Dennis fill.
Oh
yeah,
man. Yeah, so like with this song, so on the you were talking about like how it's like the poppy rock song. So in the doc, you know, there's like I think it's in like the section when James is tracking this song, there's lots of us like talking about the song, even in the studio. You know, if you look at the board that we were, you know, tracking things to, like Afterlife and Curse Me were two of the last songs because they were two of the last songs that like we tracked because they weren't quote unquote ready. So like, you know, we were still working on like the structure in the studio. We were working on like
that that rim thing you do in the first verse and then you evolve it into a snare in the second verse. Totally just kind of on the fly in the studio, and that really, there he is, man. that really like that really makes those verses, you know, they feel really evolved. You know, you did a really good job of on short notice kind of taking those verses and making them feel quite positive. And another thing I love that you do in Afterlife as well is the cat-doo-doo. And you can't, it's like, it's weird because you use like symbols as like fill, like components. Does that make sense? So it's not like interesting to me that a typical fill doesn't need to have drums as such. You know, you can go kappa and that feels the fill. You know what I mean? Cool. So yeah, boy. But ultimately, you know, we're proud as hell of this song, and as it stands, it's doing incredibly well on Spotify, and the response for this song specifically, as well as everything else. Don't get me wrong, but this song just, you know what I mean, like it took off. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're very grateful. Okay, Home Slices, the next song. Speaking of good drum fills, Greeno, do you want to introduce it?
Yeah, mate, it's the sparkler. It's the yellow song that we've dubbed it. It's Drugs and Love.
I still hear it when I think back. Her cry. So sure. That night down the hall. I just sat back like a whale with my hands tied. Still haunts me. And to this day I'm faced with this juxtaposition of guilt. decades of being muffled.
Ooh, very ominous. Very ominous. That's a good
Big
point.
question.
Something to
Who does
mention that
voiceovers?
ooh, there we go. Big question. So the voiceover was done by a lady called Annika Warburton. She's an American voice actress. And basically, when we did this record, I don't really know why we did it, to be honest. It's definitely, I'm not like questioning the fact that we did it because I love the fact that we did it, but I don't know what kind of made us want to do it. But
I tell you what it was. It was I remember just listening to Copeland's bloody
spoiler
album.
alert. Like,
Yeah, and I remember just thinking it was a really cool way to introduce a sort of
Depth,
a character, you know, a voice of the album essentially. That's kind of introducing story elements, even though it's not a concept album, but a cool way to sort of kind of direct the listener into maybe what the context of the album as a whole and of the songs individually. And yeah.
I think that's cool as well because, you know, lyrics are interpretational. Everybody's got their own kind of opinion of what the song means to them. And I think that ambiguity, because it gives more to maybe connect with, you know, regardless of what it is or what it means, you know, and to go a little bit deeper into those, we decided that we wanted those kind of the voice actress to do those bits. And for the record, it isn't my sister. It's not my sister doing those my things later in the record. It isn't her talking there. But yeah, so we knew we wanted that, and I just thought it'd be really cool to write some poems, and then that kind of went to looking up what other people deemed as the greatest mistake of their life. And I stumbled across a Reddit thread which was like people talking about what they deemed as the greatest mistake of their life. I paraphrased them, wrote them into poems that you can read in 9D inlays in full, you know, because it chopped up a little bit here. And then we sent them off to Annika, and she recorded them and brought them back. And yeah, so it was quite an interesting thing that we did. And this is the first song that introduces that. And it's this song, Die Alone, and Phantoms that have those three poems spread throughout.
I think a good way to look at it would be that Annika, Kate, and Liv, who is the actress, really talented actress, who is on the cover of the album, and she's in all of these sort of videos that we're playing you today. They all play the same character, really.
Yeah, for sure. That depth of like,
yeah,
there she is, Liv, boy, you know. Yeah, for sure, man. And back to the ambiguity of it all, you know, it's like if somebody listens to this album and has never heard of us, doesn't know anything about us, you know, and doesn't know who is singing on Die Alone or whatever, it kind of doesn't really matter. If people think it is my sister's on, or whoever woman is all three of those, you know, like that's cool, man. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the interpretable nature of art, I think, which is really cool. And I never want to close that door, you know. I never want to tell people how they should feel or what they should take from music, which is a big thing. So as for the sonic elements of this song, you know, basically, I think we just wanted a sludgy, back to Deftones earlier, you know, something that just kind of riffed a little bit, you know, had some kind of tenderness to it. And basically those choruses, we just wanted to soar, essentially, you know. Would you say that the album is a narrator then talking through this character's life? Ooh. I mean, and this is what I said earlier, you know, is like, it could be, you know, I don't want to tell you that it's not, because, you know, I'd hate to ruin that kind of version of the narrative, I suppose. Exactly, yeah. So, you know,
exactly.
Yeah, and that's wicked because that's kind of the goal is open doors could lead into each other along the line, whether we meant them to or not, you know. But do you guys have any more to add to on Drugs and Love?
I remember it was, like we said before, it's a song that we wrote with our producer Dan, and we kind of went into it saying, hey, look, the past few times we've written songs together, they've been kind of poppy radio bangers. Let's, you know, see if we can write a heavy song And
for the record as well, Dan plays guitar in a band called Sixth, who are like a metal band. He's a wizard on guitar. He's not like Justin Timberlake's nephew or anything. You know, it's like he's like, you know, he's somebody who's really, really well versed in that side of the music, I guess. So yeah, good point. Cool, right? And actually, you know, I'll quickly go back to it. You know, like I was saying about the song being very ominous and very looming. Something that we haven't spoken about is the transitions from each song into one another. So there's no Scott, is he about to sneeze? Go on, get it out.
Sneeze.
But you know, every song leads into every other song.
I remember that was something that was very important to me when we were writing it. Was that I remember saying that like we always try and make our live shows seamless. You know, there's always something going on. There's never silence. Yeah, there's never a moment of silence. Even if there should be, it's just an ominous guitar kind of drone or something. So it's very sort of really wanted to kind of make that into the album, you know, kind of make sure there was no moment of silence.
And I tell you what is really interesting is I learned that like for album 3, we maybe shouldn't do every song transitioning into every other song, but it would be a really cool tool to have that moment of silence after a song. You know, imagine having a song that was epic as hell and then it didn't transition into the next song. It just finished, the next song started. Like, you know, so that's really cool because I feel like as a band, that's something that we've kind of unlocked as a tool for future reference as well, which is
also it means that any of you freaks who shuffle albums, you can't shuffle this album now.
Not today, buddy. Cool. Right, let's move on. So the next track is a song called In Circles. Most of you will know it because it was a single. It is In Circles. Yeah, of course. Yeah. In Circles is a song we're very proud of, and yeah, we hope you enjoy.
Like a bug, I'm dying. The weight of listlessness. Maybe I could learn how to fly, but my wings never sprouted. People just go on and on in circles, in circles. Just go on and on in circles, in circles. I'll wake to the sound of the hum of the earth just spinning around, and there's not much for me to tell, but count the days and look at photos of you. People just go on and on in circles, in circles. People just go on and on in circles, in circles. To thought that I was worth more than just a short life and a lifetime under dirt. Dare to dream is what you told me. There's more to life than just your reluctant love, your begrudging touch. You sat like the sun, maybe that's enough. But if we lay here, maybe we could stay here. Maybe we could die here. Wouldn't that be fine, dear? I'll wake to the sound of the
banger. I love that song.
Yeah, dude, that's definitely like, I feel like one of our proudest moments on the record, because I think it's like, it's quite hard to make something so simple feel so big, if that makes sense, you know? So yeah, super proud of that song. And we've spoken quite a lot about, because it was released quite recently as a single, you know, I've spoken quite a lot in interviews and stuff about how it was written, but I remember the night, Scott, that me and you were sat in this exact room I'm in right now, you know, we both finished our boring day jobs, and we had that loop, and then we realized that our lives were probably looping at that point, you know, and the song just kind of happened, really, you know, and a big part of doing right by that song was making sure that we didn't do too much, you know, and the video as well. I'm really proud of the video. It took 14 hours to film, so it was a very, very long day, and you know, we all know too well that like you can sometimes film music videos that don't come out how you hope. So 14 hours of stood on the same road is a lot to risk in regards to something coming back and looking rubbish. So Zach Pinchin, who did that, also did No More Roses as well, smashed it out of the park. And yeah, that's a song that we're super proud of. We've got a special guest that is dropping in shortly. I'm not sure how shortly, but hey, there he is.
There he is.
Can you see me?
Dan Weller, the
yes,
record producer.
Yo, man.
I thought I'd just drop in and say hello.
There he is.
How are you?
So everybody at home, this is Dan. This is a man that we've been gassing up and very grateful for the last year of our lives, let alone today as well, you know. And Dan produced the album and wrote some brilliant songs with us as well. So yeah, man, it's good to see you, bro. More than anything, how have you been?
Yeah, I've been good. Yeah, I've been good.
Where are you? Where the fuck are you?
Well,
you look like you're in Los Angeles or something.
I've done sort of 360-degree here, to sort of get the best version of my complexion, but also to give you the most interesting, because there's some tarpaulin and a council flat that way. I figured this way looks better. So
how you feeling about the album, Dan? Now it's out.
Well, if anyone who's watching this follows me on Instagram or whatever, like I said today, and I meant it, you know, because I've done loads of albums, and sometimes you can drop a bit of sort of hyperbole that maybe just looks like, well, he probably says that about all albums, but there's something about this album, because of its our closeness as friends, but also just the quality of the music and the fact it feels so cinematic. It's rare when I make an album, I can then listen to it and I can't remember seeing it in Pro Tools anymore. I just hear it as a piece of audio work, and then obviously, you know, as we all know, when you watch a good video accompanying a song you're already really familiar with, like, you know, No More Roses, when I saw the video, just watching Ash slam the shit out of the drums, it brings the song to life, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I'm super proud. I'm just like, you know,
it was a really special experience, being like spending a month in the studio with you as well. You know, kind of like living with you for a month and being able to like live this body of work that we've just sort of spent. Hey, there I am with the expensive guitar.
Yeah, that's my
fancy
guitar.
It was just really special, sort of, to be able to live this music, and bloody recording something piano as well. There we go. Look at me, moustacheless, young Scott.
Yeah, multi-instrumentalist Scott, just playing a bit of everything, playing the spoons.
No,
I mean, no one's ever said they enjoyed living with me for a month. So, first of all, I appreciate that.
I always say
it's a pleasure, you know, a total pleasure.
One of my favorite memories was like that night that we recorded all the acoustics, and we stayed up till like 4 a.m. I don't know if you remember it. Stayed up till 4 a.m. drinking beers, recording all the acoustic guitar, and then leaving the live room to find Joe, the engineer, sleeping in the kitchen because I kicked him out of his bed to record acoustics.
Well, it was worth it, you know.
Yeah,
it was worth it. I'm sure he'd agree. And actually, you know, when you're first starting out in studio work, like Joe's the guy who's sort of assistant engineer and essentially was the helpful guy doing lots of editing and things like that. You know, you definitely have to just like not need sleep in this job, because, you know, some bands are just, they function better in the middle of the night. And you have to sort of become nocturnal, and that's just the way it is. You know, you can't be like, well, you might be inspired, guys, but I got to sleep, so see you later. You know, no band's gonna like that, so you have to just adjust to whatever. And for whatever reason, we were having a drink and it felt good, so we must have just carried on.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
dude,
well,
you know,
good to see you. I'm proud of you.
yeah, man, thank you so much for popping in. It's lovely to see you, and just thanks for
Pleasure.
everything, bro. You know, yeah, hopefully see you
Pleasure.
soon.
Thank you, Dan.
Pleasure.
Love you, mate. See you soon.
Yeah. You have a great night, and yeah, thanks to everyone who's listening to the record. Just keep telling your mates, because you know we all know how good it is, and the more people that hear it, the better. So
Thank
Love you, man.
mate.
See you
Enjoy.
soon. All the
I'm
best,
going
brother.
to drink
Bye.
beer. See you in a bit.
Yeah,
Bye.
boy. Oh man, do you know that one of the most special things about what Dan just said, you know, is Dan is a producer that has spent years and years of his, like, you know, decades at this point, kind of recording bands, and like that was our first experience in a studio for a month, you know, so it was always going to be special for us.
Even our first experience with like a sort of big time like producer, you know, obviously like we work with producers in the past that have been great, but like our first time living in an actual residential studio with like a producer that had done like huge, like, I mean, he did Bones by Young Guns, which was #1 in America.
Dude, Shikari, man, like,
Shikari,
you know,
exactly. Yeah.
Literally grew up on some of Dan's records, you know, and like I said, you know, I just want to hit home that like it was always going to be special for us recording this record. So the fact that it was special for Dan as well is extra special, you know what I mean? So yeah, happy days. And on the note of No More Roses, ash green leather in that drum kit.
Yeah, here we go.
I reckon we should go into that, and then yeah, we'll talk about it in a bit. So
Enjoy.
If God is
Woo,
The outro
yeah,
to that
boy.
is so special, isn't
It's
it?
lovely, man. And
Like,
you know what's interesting is I always remember, and I think I said this to you the other day, Scott. You know,
Yeah.
we were so for the record when we were in the studio, we had this ritual which was like religion every day, no matter what. 7 p.m., no matter who was tracking what, no matter what song, whatever, someone has cooked a slap up meal, whether it's the Ash Green special or James's macaroni and cheese, you know, craziness or whatever. Every day we'd sit around and we'd have food, and it was it really held us together as people, I think, because you can get a bit lost. There's so much to do when recording them. And one night we'd played it up, and come on, where's Dan? Like, fucking just spent an hour cooking, like, you know, and it's like he's still in the mixing room. So it's like, oh, Dan, come on, man. Open the door, and we can hear he's tracking that wee, wee, like lead line thing over the acoustics. And like, you know, he looks like he's like floating in his hair. Like, you know, he hasn't got long hair, but you know, like man's at peace with the world, you know, tracking this gorgeous
Luke,
thing.
What is the
Ash
Ash Green
Green
special?
special?
Sorry, this
This
takes
is the most
precedent.
important thing.
Guino, you've got to share the secret recipe for that.
The dinner. Oh, yeah. There would be no need for a cookbook, mate. There'd be no need. So it's a staple. It's like it's just a big vegan dinner. Covers all your nutrients. Covers all your macros, carbs, proteins, fats, all your micronutrients. It's got everything, mate. It's any kind of vegetable you want, as long as it's got beans in it. That makes it special. You got to have some like charred broccoli or Brussels or both. Both
broccoli all the way. Broccoli all the way.
That's the special bit. That's the special bit. And then
it's just rice. A normal Greeno without those.
Basically, you cut up a load of vegetables, chuck it in the oven, and then with some rice, and then a nice bit of balsamic glaze. Don't forget the balsamic glaze.
Yeah, mate.
That's it. It might not sound special, but it is the Greeno special, so it's incredibly special. It was a true staple of that.
It's all about how much you. It's all about how much you put in. It's how much you get out.
Damn, shit's getting deep. Okay, right. Let's talk about No More Roses. So I did an interview a while back with Rock Sound, and I use this analogy, and I think it's a really good example. Like when you write an album, you kind of start off by it's like making a puzzle. You kind of start off by coming up with the outline, and then you kind of work inwards. And then basically, you know, a week or two, like before the record was done, if you look at it metaphorically, you know, we've got, and there's just a few little pieces missing all over the shop. And basically No More Roses was our way of filling in those little gaps. We knew heavy kind of verse. We knew we wanted a banging massive intro. We knew we wanted a bit of a progressive kind of second verse, you know, and this basically us just kind of looking at what we didn't have on the album and just kind of going for it. And I know it was a lesson for all three of us, because it was basically the first time that we'd kind of done something like off the cuff, you know, and taken a bit of a risk, and it paid off hugely, because this song is one of the better on the record, you know.
I also feel like this was the easiest one to write. I remember we kind of remember writing that demo and sending it to everyone, and everyone was like, oh, cool. Because like a lot of the time it's like, oh, change this, change that, you know, maybe we should do this, maybe we should do that.
You listen back to, and you know, you don't recognize the song, you know, whereas No More Roses, I distinctly remember that demo was kind of just
it was just like, yeah, just
the final product, but less good.
First version of it, which is awesome.
Banging.
It's definitely got like some of the heart, like, you know, lots of the songs are because they're like tracked to the demos. It's like tracking the drums is more like, the more you hear the song, the more you understand structurally in and out how the song flows. Is easier to track. But with this song, man, like I completely like blagged, because I was like, oh yeah, I've listened to it, Scott, it's fine, don't worry. I get to the studio and I'm like transcribing the notation for the songs for the drums when I'm tracking, because I haven't heard it a lot, and I'm like, damn, this song is freaky, like, you know what I mean? Like it just was one of those that's like definitely one of the, I feel like on my behalf and Lucas's, definitely has like the most like best performance on my account that like I could have given on the record for a song of that style, because it's so almost like the best version of like 2016 Hold an Absence, all those like things that we've learned over the years of being in the band. Like, you know, it is just like everything that we have, like, you know, there are like parts that are just like almost unnatural for me to play, but perfectly make sense, you know?
Yeah, for sure. This song was very much, I think, you know, when I think of this album, I feel like I can say to any Holden Absence fan from any era that there's something for them. And this song definitely ticks that kind of box. And I'm really proud that we haven't left behind our roots either. You know, we really, really stayed true to them, which is really cool. Anyway, so like I said earlier in the stream, today, myself, Ash, and Scott, we all went into town and we all picked up The Greatest Mistake of My Life on vinyl from HMV. It was a really, really cool thing. And just something I quickly want to tell you guys about is with this record, you know, we kind of planned like loads of stuff, you know, like, and we really, really went in on lots of little bits and bobs. And one of them was the vinyl colorways that we chose. With the debut, there they are. Hey, baby. Let me talk you through them, right, left to right. So the one on the left is the Oxblood and Terracotta. And that, I'm right in thinking, is UK independent store exclusive. So you're thinking of places like Banquet Records or Spillers or whatever. The one next to us, the purple and dust looking color. I'm right in thinking that is Europe.
Europe, yeah, not UK though.
The Coke bottle green, is that a green? Yeah. The Coke bottle one is America exclusive. Oh my god, I'm doing all this off the top of my head, and I've just realized there's a chart at the bottom. Okay, the one next to that is the green and yellow one, which is our band store exclusive. So that is holdenabsence.com exclusive, and that comes from us directly. The purpley pinky boy is the HMV exclusive, which for the record is the most limited out of all these. There's only 250 of those. And the final one is the box set exclusive. And anybody who has that copy knows that the vinyl is just a part of that package, you know. So so if you've enjoyed this record and you want to pick any of these up in your region, or if you want to try and catch them all like a little emo Ash Ketchum, you know where to go. Hey, there's an Ash Green over there as well. There he is with his Greatest Mistake of My Life hoodie as well.
I think nice abundance of that on the web store as well, mate. There's loads of it. Loads of little bits like this, mate. Looks amazing. We worked with them.
Look at that.
Our mate Jack and
hey, bouncing around.
Loads of bits, mate. Yeah, we worked, like Lucas said, you know, like everything has been thought of. So like whether that's like literally the slipcase of the vinyl, which we were like, oh, let's have the font not on the album artwork, physical cover, or like, you know, all the t-shirts that have got, you know, got photos of like Live On, you know, everything that we've like put together was put together with like every sort of thing in mind that we'd like thought of. Even the like, you know, the box set, when we got like a first prototype of that, it was like, oh, can we put a tab underneath the book so you can get the book out, you know, like.
And it sounds kind of it sounds kind of contrived to say it like this, because I don't want it to sound like a, you know, a martyrdom thing. But the only reason we're pushing this stuff on you is not because, you know, we want to make millions of bucks, but because like with this album, we just wanted you guys to have as brilliant an experience as we did, you know. And if you guys love this album the way that we've loved albums in our lives, you know, like I wish my favorite bands had box sets as cool as the ones that we've just made and stuff like that, you know. So mainly for us, more than anything, if you've enjoyed this album, there's no pressure to pick anything up, but holdenabsence.com, there's just so much stuff we put a lot of thought and attention into, and we hope on your end, as somebody who digs the music, it's special for you more than anything, you know, which is cool. So
I feel like when like we were making the album, in the back of our minds, it was sort of created with the intent of like being listened to from front to back, from start to finish, in you know, with in physical form, you know, like because of the vibe of like, you know, this 80s kind of thing we got going on with the visuals. It was always like, this album physically is gonna be the best way to listen to it. So
yeah,
there you go. Look,
and
all
the merch is like
well.
all the merch is like, it looks, you know, like I'm biased, but I think it's something that, you know, we've always been like, oh, I would want to wear that, you know, like the hoodie as an example, you know, like
who's moving that mouse then?
As Rico behind the scenes.
It's a ghost.
Here's our next special guest, our manager, Ryan.
And back to what the boys were saying as well, you know, we made sure that we did try out new colors and new vibes with this merch, you know, because taking that big jump from black and white to color, you know, we did feel like it'd be kind of easy to just keep doing black and white merch, you know what I mean? So hopefully there's something that you guys can dig on the store, whether you're an old fan or a new fan. Like this pink one, for example. I really wanted to get this design in because it was like, that feels like old school Holding Absence as hell. You know what I mean? In contrast to the newer merch, I guess. So, God, look at all this.
Stylish as hell, mate, isn't it? It's almost as stylish as we looked when we first started planning for the new album. When we first started planning for the
almost as stylish as we looked in this next music video.
Yeah, mate, that's where I was going.
Transition.
Yeah, this next song is it was kind of in the middle of writing, but when we finished this one, it was kind of the one that dictated how all the visuals look. And it's obviously very inspired by The Cure and all those kind of bands. But yeah, this is Beyond Belief.
Believe
Oh boy,
Come on.
God,
get me on a massive stage playing that song, mate. I can't wait. Hands in the air, mate. It's gonna be unreal. It's such a like. I think when we first like put that song out, I was a bit like I anticipated it going like really well. Maybe it didn't go like really well, but I was a bit like, oh, not everyone's like got it. But now I listen to it in context of the album, and I'm like, it's huge, mate. It's so good.
The whole point of us putting that one out early was to kind of make people go, "Whoa, what are they doing?
Weird.
Idiots!" What?
Well, it was the black and white things when we obviously had such a tangible transformation that we wanted to make, so what song on this album felt better to do it with than Beyond Belief, and like you said, Ash, like practicing these songs, man, like just they all feel banging, but like Beyond Belief, whoa, I can't keep my feet still when we play that puppy, so very, very excited. As it stands, our next shows are in October and November in Europe and UK, obviously very much if and when, because obviously the way the world is at the moment. But if you see your city or a nearby place on this little map, then
look at that,
your boys are going to be rocking out. And but yeah, so like, as it stands at the moment, that is something that we're hoping will happen, and we've got our fingers crossed, and obviously the way the world is at the moment, who knows, but it's looking kind of good, So I'm gonna
also got some nice plans to come over to the USA as well. We're well, yeah, as Ryan said in the chat, we're allowed to say that. So,
well, we're planning. We're hoping to go to America at some point in the future. But all of our American and international fans, we're coming.
We're coming for you.
We're literally. I'm gonna start swimming now, like after we with complete transparency. We had a Japanese tour offered to us once upon a time, cancelled it for the America tour. Our visas got declined, couldn't do that. Had an Australia tour, and thanks Donald, bye. And then with our Australia tour, obviously COVID, so those are three like complete territories that as people and musicians we're dying to come out to. We know that the Yabites, the little Holden Absence fans are out there, so we want to come and say hello.
We'll be there.
So, if there's any bands like people want to see us play with, obviously we're playing with Creeper, Wargasm, and Static Dress in December. But any bands that any people are like, let them know in the comments. Let us know like any bands you're super keen to see us play with.
And as for the Creeper tour as well, that is a really interesting situation we're in. We're literally touring UK twice in the space of 2 months, which is something that never ever really happens, So if shows do come back by then, we're going to be smashing it. If you're in the UK, you're going to be sick of us by that point. But I'm sure we'll do more tours after that as well. So get ready to be sick of the boys. Beyond Belief, any more comments? It's a poppy banger. But Boston Manor Holden Absence tour would be fire. For the record, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you tweet bands you like to tour with other bands you like, that is kind of a positive thing, and it normally does help wheels move.
So go and tweet My Chemical Romance that you want Holden Absence to support for the tour, so we can do that.
Teenage Wrist is a shout. I think Scott, you mentioned Teenage Wrist to me before.
I love Teenage Wrist,
bro. The Teenage Wrist
new record.
So good. So
Jonas gets it.
Jonas, no. But like I said, if there's any bands, Dayseeker, brilliant example. If there's any bands that you think that we'd go down well with or whatever, just tweet them, just let them know, because that's kind of the way it works a lot of the time. So
at Metallica, let Holden Absence support you.
And Dream State as well are another shining example of a band that we love, and we grew up playing shows with as well. So that'd be very, very special.
Bro, everyone's naming bands that have put out albums. I'm just I'd love to Teenage Wrist Movements, man. Like Dayseeker, like
those done that a couple times.
That's old news, bro. Come on, I'm sure us and Lowe's will do some stuff together in the future. I feel like us and Lowe's, we respect each other's bands enough to kind of give each other space a little bit as well, and there was a period of time when we did the split EP where it was like we were kind of synonymous with each other and we didn't sound anything like each other, so very proud of both of us for going off in different directions and working hard to be Void Diversion is sick as well, respect. But you know, kind of working hard to be our own bands in our own space. And I'm very excited for the day that we do get to do more shows with them, because they are our boys. Apart from Faisal, though. Hate that guy. Him and James. Oh, they're on the naughty list, those two.
Yeah.
Right. I reckon we should move on to another bop.
It's a special one, mate. It's a
It is a
special
special one.
Go on,
So,
Lucas, you can take this one.
Yeah. This is
So
your one.
this is a song called Die Alone in Your Lover's Arms. This is a song that, once again, I vividly remember writing in this exact room, kind of in the middle of the process. But something very special happened in the process that elevated the song to a whole new level. I'm sure we'll talk about it afterwards. But yeah, Die Alone in Your Arms.
And there, stoic and scarred for weeks at a time, I believed in her so much. I think the saddest part was the fact that I hadn't realized I'd gone in until I'd come out the other end.
Go to hell, then why should I regret all the wasted decades that we spent sad in utter silence? Nobody told me my deathbed would be harrowed by hindsight. The truth is you weren't right for me. Baby, I just can't look you in the eyes. I wasted all your precious time. Bury me in broad daylight. I've already died inside your thighs. Waving you goodbye. Let it be the final time you place your hand in mine. Waving you goodbye tonight. Waving you goodbye. Watching you die alone in your lover's arms.
When you looked me in the eyes on that warm summer night, you might as well have buried me alive and saved me all the sorrow. If you'd have told me I'd be left and left out in the cold, I would have kept my soul and lived my life out on my own.
Baby, at least we can say that we tried it.
Baby, it feels like I spent all my life there.
Baby, I still can't look you in the eyes. I wasted all your precious time. Bury me in broad daylight. I've already died inside your thighs. Waving you goodbye. Let it be the final time you place your hand in mine. Waving you goodbye. Watching you die alone
In your lover's arms.
in your lover's arms. In your lover's arms. Have you ever felt alone inside the walls of silence and try to tell yourself that
Oh, come on now. Wait, let's go.
That's a good one as well.
So,
isn't it?
Right.
that outro, I view that outro as like one of the riskier things we did on this. Remember when I kind of came up with the idea of all these laying over vocals and stuff, I was really like worried that it'd sound trash. You know, but like the main inspirations for that were like Blink-182. I can't remember what song it is. Is it Always? I can't remember. You know, the fake.
Oh, it's down. Is it down?
No, I don't think it's down, but it's a Blink song, and I remember that idea of it kind of like snowballing and then like right at the end, you know. And when we were tracking it, I was like, oh god, I hope this works, and it feels really cool, you know. So, but yeah, so this song is yeah, fire away, Home Slice.
On the you know, we were saying with Celebration Song how like there are parts in that song that like almost we do things in that song that we do later on in other songs, like the overlapping lyrics thing there, you know, that happens in Celebration Song, Curse Me, and this song, you know, like that was obviously like, I remember you talking about that a lot and being like, you know, these lyrics doing this over the top of this one, and sort of lyrics that hold out here so other lyrics can be a bit more busy, you know. That was obviously something that we spoke about so much, and then it just having Kate obviously elevates it just another level, having her,
yeah, because it was like a
do those
different
parts.
tonality to play with, you know what I mean? It was like a
Yeah.
complete different thing, you know. And like and you know, as a musician, you know, when we were writing this album, you know, you always try and do stuff you've never done before, and always try and lean into I guess, yeah, just try taking new risks, you know. So on that note, my sister Caitlin is on this song, so here's a little clip. Oh,
God, mate.
It was like,
I was sat there and I said,
Who's that?
This is weird for two reasons.
Is that
that
blonde
little
fella?
blonde boy.
Second off, this is someone else singing on my song.
Yeah.
Like, so it was like a weird, yeah, it was, I don't know, it was weird because like it was as easy as it was hard. It was a very unique situation to be in, really, for me, emotionally and mentally. And like I said, it's the most special kind of thing. No, it's perfect because it's the exact same way I do it. I want these lines to be parallel with each other. So I go, what do I even start with? You know, just let it fucking, and yeah, and like in terms of like holding notes as well, like tonight, don't let it like fall away, like just fucking hold it out, like, you know.
And left out in the cold lately, baby, it feels like I've spent all my life back.
So make sure tonight is a little bit earlier. Waving you goodbye tonight. So it sort of flows into itself a bit more.
I would never have even originally pitched this to the boys because it's too special, really, in some respects. And I said,
That's what you said at the start, wasn't it?
yeah, and I,
Before
like
you asked
the
me.
main thing was like I wanted it to be I wanted it to be musically special, not like personally special.
Yeah.
Like and I feel like, you know, we've captured that today, which is cool. And like Dan's a pro and he makes me sound good, so God knows what he can do with you, you know. So and yeah, and like on a personal level, it's just been like just really special, like you said, about, you know, whenever I speak to people about my family, it's all about music. It's all about song. It's all about playing the old piano at my nan's house, and me and you kind of just singing together, and like that's just been like the highest kind of points of my life, really. I've just been like singing with you. So the thought of that kind of being cemented in our own way is like really special, you know. So I'm glad we got to.
There we are, man.
How
Oh, yeah,
sweet.
Rigger, bye.
How very cute.
God, mate, that whole like the whole like there could have been an entire documentary about like that song, with how much like, you know, between you and Kate, you like spoke about the song, and how much like, you know, for obviously I don't know how like whether people know or not how like common knowledge is, but like Kate wasn't sort of dubbed to be on the track like when we went to the studio, and then Lucas, you went home and saw Kate and you discussed it with her like in person, and you spoke about the song. And I remember like, I think this is why it's one of my like personally my favorite songs, and I always that end of the second chorus, in your lover's art, that like that whole section I just go straight back to every time I listen to it, of like laying on the sofa and you guys like tracking it every time, man. It's so good.
Me and Kate always have this running joke that particular bit after the second chorus is like it's like a sonic representation of our relationship as siblings, because she does it and then I do it higher, and then she does it higher, and then I higher it again. But yeah, man, you know, and I think that was the moment where I realized just how special this song could be, was because, like, you know, when you write music with people, you go through it in the same way, you know, and every time we write music and record it, it's like we go through the same emotions at the same time. But I remember watching how profound it was on you, Ash, you know, and thinking like, God, yeah, this is different for me, because like I'm still plugged into this, but you're kind of watching from afar and experiencing it as an outsider now. And that was really special, you know. And, you know, I've said it a million times, I'm super proud of her, and I'm really, really happy with the outcome. And, you know, I want to hit home that that's always how it's been with this band, is like the music's got to come first, you know. Like I have no qualms in telling my sister, like, sorry, but, you know, we didn't think it was right for the song.
You didn't make it.
You know, like, you know, it was very much, but it was right for the song. It was special. It was, and it really elevated the song. You know what I mean? So I'm really, really grateful for that. And for the record, everybody at home, everybody's listened. My sister is very grateful for all the love and support that you guys have today. You know, it's weird, you know, obviously we've built our way up to this, but being on such a high platform, you know, and having so many people listening to you sing, you know, I feel like it was quite a weird sensation for her. But yeah, so thank you very much for being very nice about my sister, but also, you know, yeah, it means a lot. Anything else we want to add on this song?
I wonder if there's any questions. If anyone has
Yeah,
anything.
good point, actually. Any cues? Yeah. We can give you some A's. You know, how came it to the point that Caitlin sang on Die Alone and not another song on the album? It was because that song was written as a duet. So, you know, the reason she sang on that song is because I wanted that song to have somebody else on it. You know, it wasn't a case of going, ooh, you know, I want my sister on the album, let's pick a song. It was more a case of, I want somebody on this song. And then we kind of picked Kate, which was really cool, you know. But yeah, and like Ash said very much earlier in the stream, you know, you can hear her voice as an ambient texture on the whole of the album. And somewhere where that comes up, you know, quite prominently is in Phantoms, which is the next song as well. So we'll quickly transition onto that, but we're kind of nearing the end of this stream. So if you guys have any questions, please like plow them in, and we'll try, and maybe after Phantoms, we'll do a big chunk of questions before we listen to the big sad morning song. So yeah, this is Phantoms.
In the face of death, forgiveness is a small price. I remember the last time I laid my eyes upon him. I can still see him now. Handsome, even with his back turned. If I knew that day would be my last with him, I'd have done anything to
Yeah, if you guys swipe up, you can sign the petition to get Scott Carey to record an entire lo-fi
Lo-fi.
hip hop album.
Mate.
I know. Like,
That song is very much all you, Scott. So yeah, talk us through the process.
honestly, that song it didn't change much from the demo. Like a lot of those stems are like exactly that I kind of wrote on my crappy laptop.
Crap top.
Yeah, like just sort of I don't even remember writing it really. I know we wanted a kind of like lo-fi chill, like ambient interlude kind of thing, and I remember just coming up with that piano loop and just adding to it from there. Like it's very heavily inspired by like the 1975 kind of things, and all of their like really early stuff where they do a lot of the same. Got my flowers.
See you later, mate.
A lot of the same sort of,
No more roses, mate.
yeah, no more. A lot of the same sort of like ambient kind of electronic things, and it just turned out really really well. And I've Dan a lot to thank for that as well. He kind of added some layers and things while we were recording. But yeah.
One thing that we've always been adamant on, and I'm sure we'll be adamant on for a very long time, is when working on albums number 1 and 2 now, the structure of the album we kind of had in mind. It wasn't like we wrote a load of songs and put them together. It was like we knew what we wanted the structure to look like, and then we put the songs in, and I think Phantoms is an interesting one because after, Die Alone, I feel like, and then Morning Song, like Die Alone into Morning Song would have been a lot, I think. They're both very long, very exhaustingly emotional tracks. And I think Phantoms was like the perfect place to put a breather before the massive epic, basically. Yeah. So, but yeah, smashed it, man. And I think
thank you very much.
The thing I love about it the most is the fact that it isn't anything we haven't done before, but it also sounds nothing like any other song we've got, So, ooh, hey, well,
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe in the future we're definitely we're gonna toy around a lot more with kind of backing vocals and stuff. Obviously, this album lends itself to a lot more backing vocals. So, yeah, Scotty boy and
maybe live.
Mike now.
Have to come and see us live to do that.
Yeah, but
difficulties. Honestly, not many. I feel like I know Lucas has said before that there wasn't really kind of compared to
other than COVID.
Yeah, other than COVID, obviously. Well, this was all written before COVID, so like there wasn't really many, COVID sort of
things,
hindrances really. But like, I remember when we booked the studio date, it was like, okay, this is set in stone now, so you guys need to finish this album, and there was just lots of like, remember Lucas and I especially going to our little sort of recording space every day, pretty much, a couple times a week after work, and just smashing this out, and me sitting there in my coffee shop with like my headphones in, like writing. I wrote an entirety of Phantoms in like my coffee shop when it was quiet with my headphones in, ignoring customers, or like just sitting there and like sort of hashing out all the little details and things.
I think when it comes to writing songs and an album as a whole, you do face so many difficulties, but I think, the point is that nobody gets to see those, like, because by the time we've hit the studio, we'd like to think that we'd kind of cleaned up all the mess and we'd kind of got it to a place where it was like, just, there wasn't any problems really. I'm trying to think if there was any in the studio though. That's when things start going
I really don't think so. I really think it was such a seamless process from start to finish. Like even like showing the demos to the label, there wasn't even any like, oh, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that. Like Sharpton was so cool and was like, this sounds awesome. Dan was like, this is awesome. And, recording it was just easy.
On that note, I think something quite interesting to maybe bring up is there is another song that we recorded for this record called An Apology Note. And basically it was a song that I'd written on piano like back in like 2016. So it'd been with me for a long time, and we nearly had it on the debut, and I got really emotional when it got cut because I was really gutted because I loved it, and then I kind of like really, really wanted it on this record. And it was quite an interesting moment for me as a songwriter because like it'd come back and it was awesome, and I'm really proud of it, but it didn't feel right for the pacing of the record. And I think, you know, I remember you guys specifically, Ash and Scott, you know, I think you both kind of disagreed with me a little bit because, you know, you both like the song, you know, but for me, I felt like, I don't know, I just had a little bit more responsibility of that song. And I felt like having Die Alone, an apology note, and the Morning Song would have been a lot at the end of the record. But like that little note at the bottom just said, if you pick up the CD, is only available on the CD. So, hey, there he is. He's got it. See that little bottom says an apology note in brackets bonus track. So that song exists, and if you do want to hear it, you got to pick up a CD, buddy. Oh wow! Okay.
Oh wow,
Hey,
that's interesting.
Take that then.
I've not heard anyone say anything about apology note actually today.
So if you do have a CD of The Greatest Mistake, or if you've got the box set, which will have a CD in it as well, you know, skip all the way to the back and you'll be able to find a little hidden gem, which is cool. Any other questions on the headline tour? Do you plan on playing the singles, Birdcage and Gravity? Do you know, that's a good question, because in all honesty, those two and the other 17 songs in our back catalogue, we're so ecstatic with The Greatest Mistake. We think every song holds up and every song is fun to play live. And, you know, and I really don't want to sound like every band ever is like the new album's the best stuff, but we truly believe it is. And I think that's going to be one of the hardest things, is choosing what songs to play alongside the album tracks, or maybe what album tracks to skip and not play live, you know. But having said that, Gravity and Birdcage have never been played live. So, you know, they definitely do deserve a little bit of, you know, leg stretching. So I'm sure we'll try our best to fit them when we do come back, you know.
What are you looking forward to playing live as the new album?
I'm going to go with Curse Me With Your Kiss and Morning Song. Personally, those two I think are going to be like big. Curse Me is a real vibe. Morning Song is a real exhausting, epic track, you know, and I think finishing a set with Morning Song would just be like, just obnoxious, you know. But like you said, Scott, as well, you know, every song, to be honest, you know. You got any, Ash?
Die Alone. I like when we've been playing it in practice. I like really vibe with it. It's like, it's all those yeah, it's the same with like Wilt, I think. Those like kind of really like I guess they're almost in a sense like just alternative, but almost like just flat out just those like verses. They're just like, you know, they're like some of my favorite parts, you know, just the almost like the openness and the lack of music, which almost like sets the mood, like makes me excited for that. And yeah,
I think that's something that's really good about this album as a whole, is that, like, you know, obviously Ash is an incredibly talented drummer and Lucas is an incredibly talented singer, but like
Scott's an incredibly talented guitarist.
Yeah, we'll see. But I think we're all very much
next album is gonna be shredded.
Yeah. We're very much aware that like the music of Holding Absence is way bigger than all of our individual talents, you know, and it's not about like us showing off, you know, what we can do. And as Greener was saying, then it's like some of the simplest parts are the best, is because like they're the you know, it's what's good for the song essentially. And like as long as that's what the song is what shines through, I think is that, you know, kind of what most important thing. I know it sounds like that doesn't make sense, man. Really.
I think we all agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Mate.
Do you have any staples that will always stay on the set list? As it stands, I think Like a Shadow is pretty nailed. You know, I feel like people would be pretty bummed if we didn't pull that old puppy out, because I feel like, you know, for me personally, some of my favorite memories of playing live have been playing Like a Shadow. You know, I feel like we really discovered Holding Absence with that song, you know, and we've had such special experiences with it. So I definitely say that one, but
everything else is up for grabs, really.
Yeah, it's a bit of a free for all. Otherwise, you know, I do believe it's a bit of a shame that Wilt didn't have more time in the sun, you know, because in another life without COVID, you know, we would have played a lot more shows, and they would have all closed with Wilt, you know. But unfortunately, I know I keep alluding to it, but, you know, Morning Song is also a big, thick boy. So if we play those two, we'll move on now. So before we go, I'm sure we'll have a little bit more to talk about after Morning Song finishes. But you guys, thank you so much for dropping in tonight. You know, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we're so proud of the album. If you haven't heard Morning Song, the next song, Please stick around. It's such a gem. So yeah, we hope you enjoy it.
I was thinking of leaving, nowhere place firmly at my feet. Nothing left to gain, nothing left to give you. If I could simply stop breathing, maybe then the ache would go away. Nowhere left to run, nothing left to run from. When you looked me in the eyes, how could I have known that that would be our final goodbye? How is it fair? I must live this life without your infinite light and guidance. How is it fair? You had no choice of where you left, and now we all live in the shadow of that. You should have shown me all the little things that you're deprived of, every single thing that I took for granted. Now I sit here in mourning, knowing that you left while you were lost. And now I'm petrified of leaving before I belonged. My entire life shrouded now, the death spec when you cleansed your sunshine. And if I have to live for you, in spite of all the pain that I might feel that I go through, that's something that I swear to do. How is it fair? I must live this life without your infinite light and guidance. How is it fair? You had no choice of where you left, and now we all live in the shadow of that. There's beauty that teaches you a lesson. All the beautiful friends we leave behind without ever forgetting. The life will move without you. I will never move alone. If this is my last chance to sing you to sleep.
Hello.
Oof.
Heavy.
I love that last guitar strum, man.
Yeah.
It's just such a. I think it's because like the album has had so much going on, and that song has had so much going on, and then like that, strips all the way down just to the guitar and something. I'll give this away now, and like I'm sure Dan or Scott will probably be like, "Oh, bruh," but if you listen really closely, you can hear the click track.
The click, yeah.
Yeah. So that's how quiet that last take is, that you can hear through Scott's headphones in the mic of the guitar. You can hear the click track. And I love that because it kind of bursts a bubble of us being some epic and, where everything's larger than life. And it really reminds me that it's just like a dude playing guitar,
I remember
in a
when we
room.
were mixing it, Dan was like, do you guys want to like fade out? And because you can hear the click, and we were like, nah, leave it in.
Yeah, because it just that, at the end of the day is the point of the guitar being there at all. It's this humanizing last breath, I guess,
Also, like I was talking about earlier, that was like the memory of 4 a.m. recording guitars, a few beers, everyone went to bed. That was, yeah, it's just really nice, a really nice memory.
And that song as a whole, is something that I think we're very proud of. And, it's something that we did very early with Penance. When we started as a band, we came out with Permanent. And then we said, let's do the exact opposite. So we did Dream of Me. And then we said, what do we do next? So we were just like, screw it, let's do a 6-minute long song, and that was a big thing at the time. And I remember being so proud of that. And then when we were finishing the debut, it was like, what can we do that'll be like bigger than Penance? And it was like, let's just do a longer song. And Penance, I'm glad to see some love for Penance in the chat, because Penance will always have a special place in my heart. But imagine a double whammy, yo. Nobody'd be able to
15-minute long end of the set.
And and that's what I think is really cool with Morning Song. And it's just us just saying, look, let's just take it another step up, you know what I mean? And like I said earlier, we're already thinking about album 3. We're already learning from the lessons that we've had this record, or we're looking at things that we've done and realizing that we can't do that again. And for me personally, I know that the next record won't close with a 7.5 minute long song, you know what I mean? Because we'd be repeating ourselves. And I feel like Morning Song is that true, perfect compromise between Holding Absence going bigger and harder than ever before, but knowing that we're not being stupid about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, should we just introduce the next one, and then we'll take some final questions before we let you all go to bed.
So the last song of the album is guys, getting late in here. The last song of the record is a cover of the song "The Greatest Mistake of My Life." And to those who don't know, I'm sure most of you do, but the title of the song came to us very, very early on in the process. I gave my nan a vinyl, and she flippantly mentioned how my uncle had recorded a song back in the 50s, told me what the song was, and then somehow The Greatest Mistake of My Life fell into my lap. And I just knew it was too special to not pay attention to, and we ended up titling the album after it. And we weren't always going to do a cover of it. That was not always the plan. And like Scott said earlier, with the Greatest Mistake of My Life maybe opening the record, it was always something we wanted to pay homage to, but we didn't know how to. And I remember thinking about Famous Last Words going into Blood on the Black Parade, which is like my favorite album of all time, and thinking about how it's kind of like a rolling credits, you know what I mean? Or it's like the curtains closed and it's just a little bit left. The lights are on, but thank you, Val, because Morning Song is the closer, it's the last like song, but like we kind of view The Greatest Mistake as kind of just like a credit roll, I guess.
A credit roll,
so, which is a really, really special moment. So here we go. Enjoy. The greatest mistake of my life, saying goodbye to you. I'm alone and blue, can't believe Cool. And there you have it, my friends. So that's the greatest mistake of my life. An album that we worked really, really hard on and individually are incredibly proud of as well. So Ash and Scott, any famous last words?
Just thank you to everyone for all the kind words. Obviously, we've been sat on this album for over a year now, and it's just glad that everyone kind of thinks it's as special as we do. And I'm just glad that kind of you can all hear it, and hopefully now we can kind of bring it to you live, and kind of take this whole thing to the next level. So yeah, thank you all.
Yeah, mate, and obviously, like, you guys can't see him, but Rico, our manager, Ryan, who's pulling up all your questions and comments and doing all the, like, the background changes and stuff. Like, if anyone has worked as hard on this record as us and Dan, it's Ryan, and obviously Beth as well for, like, all the photos and video things. Like,
everything you saw other than the music videos today was filmed by Beth, and also, for the record, Ash Green, where is he? He's there. The wonderful man. It's like it's great to be involved with so many artistic people, but like Ash said, and I want to give him credit as well, because Ash has not just been a drummer of a band for this record. There's been a lot of creative input that Ash has had, and it's been really, really cool. So
pretty much all of the posters and everything, on our socials that you see,
everything you've seen pretty much. So so yeah, nice and Greeno. Where are you? You're there.
Spice. There.
Right, guys, we won't keep you any longer. But before we go, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It has been a long old year, as much for us as anyone. But this was the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's so much brighter than we ever could have imagined. So now all we ask of you is enjoy the music.
Buy the album. Let's go.
Number one, baby. Number one.
Let's go.
Shut up. And tell all your friends as well, get this album out there as much as possible. But also stream the album, buy the album, get us to number one, and we'll take over the world. And cool. Right. Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you all so much.
Love you all so much. Have a lovely evening, everyone. Bye-bye. Take care.
Is it beyond belief that I could ever feel? There's so much more to it all. You've got infinity and you offer it all. I know I'm out of sight, but am I out of mind? And when I close my eyes, I dream I see you in the afterlife. I know I'm out of sight, but am I? And if I've done you wrong by not enduring this pain, well, where were you? Just counting on its cycles, its cycles. We all just
What? Boys, like, boys!